This is Matador News, and these are today's headlines. President Trump responds to the use of tear gas on migrants. NASA's InSight lander sends its first images of Mars after touching down on the red planet. And General Motors cuts nearly 14,000 jobs after low sales this year.
Hello and welcome to Matador News. I'm Samantha Rodriguez.
And I'm Coray Murtado.
President Trump has responded to the border crisis, calling out migrants for using children as grabbers, in other words, as human shields. Trump says people seeking asylum feel they have an advantage when they're with a young child. Trump defended border agents from using tear gas on a group of migrants, including children attempting to cross the U.S.-Mexico border in Tijuana on Sunday.
They had to use because they were being rushed by some very tough people, and they used tear gas. And here's the bottom line. Nobody's coming into our country unless they come in legally.
Trump also denied the use of tear gas on children. Mexico officials have deported 100 migrants who tried to enter the U.S. illegally since the caravan settled in Mexico.
A new United Nations climate report says countries are falling 2 degrees short of the greenhouse gas goal set in 2015 by the Paris Climate Agreement. The report says by 2120, the world will see a global temperature rise of 3.2 degrees. This rise could lead to problems with health, global economies, and rise of sea levels. The White House released its own report on climate change the day after Thanksgiving, confirming what scientists have found, but the president continues to express doubt.
I've seen it, I've read some of it, and it's fine. Yeah, I don't believe it.
The United States is the only country not included in the agreement after President Trump pulled the U.S. out in 2017.
Now here's Matador News reporter Angela Bickman in the newsroom with reaction from CSUN community on the effects of climate change.
Thanks, Sam. As we just heard, Trump was introduced to the White House's 4th National Climate Report on Friday. It found that climate change will cause more frequent extreme weather, a loss in infrastructures, and will be detrimental to people's health. And as we heard, Trump said he doesn't believe it. I asked CSUN students around campus if they have hope that our new representatives in Congress will address climate change, even with the president denying it being a problem.
He's denying that we don't cause climate change? Really? That's horrible.
I think for right now, they probably won't do much just because of the president that we have currently. Hopefully when he's out, we'll be able to do more. But I think it's kind of hard right now since he doesn't have an open mind to changing anything, even with recycling.
I don't believe much will change because of course, due to the fact of like money is the thing that controls everything.
I mean, I do hope that they do something about climate change because it's horrible right now, especially with everything that's happening with our drought and then, you know, the huge fire that happened. It's causing, I mean, all that smoke that went into the air, that's a lot.
To be honest, not really. I don't think he's worried about it. Like, he doesn't really care about that. He wants to, like, he only cares about, like, well, he thinks the country is like a company, basically. Like, he wants to make money.
Students say that because Trump is a businessman, he is mainly concerned about money, more so than our environment. Yet, the report finds climate change will cost the U.S. hundreds of billions of dollars. Now back to the newsroom with Coraima.
Special counsel Robert Mueller has accused President Trump's former campaign chairman Paul Manafort of secretly meeting with WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange in Ecuadorian embassy in London. This accusation comes the day after Mueller accused Manafort of having lied to his investigators in violation of the plea agreement he made regarding his association with Russians interfering with the 2016 election. Assange is a founder of WikiLeaks who released a Democratic National Committee's emails stolen by Russians after Manafort visited him in March 2016. Mueller has been investigating the Trump administration having ties with Russia during the Trump campaign. Trump continues to deny all allegations of collusion and says this investigation is a hoax and a witch hunt.
The Ventura County Sheriff's Office says investigators have put together a more detailed timeline of what happened during the mass shooting at the Borderline Bar and Grill earlier this month. They found suspect Ian David Long used a .45 caliber semi-automatic handgun and fired more than 50 rounds. Only one of the 14 people hit by gunfire survived. Sheriffs say they will continue to provide updates as the investigation continues.
3 American soldiers were killed today in a bombing in Afghanistan. The United States military says this is the worst attack on American troops this year. The deaths are a result of the detonation of a roadside bomb that went off as an American convoy passed on a highway in Ghazni province. The Taliban issued a statement claiming responsibility for the attack. First Lady Melania Trump offered her support for the fallen soldiers. The 3 soldiers were killed have not yet been identified.
6 people were found dead at a popular tourist destination this morning in Japan. Authorities say 5 of the people found in the farmhouse were from the same family. One of the victims was a 7-year-old girl. A 7th body was later found in a river nearby. Authorities say the person in the river possibly jumped off a nearby bridge. Authorities also say the bodies appear to have been stabbed. Local officials are urging people to be aware and to pick up their children from school.
Officials in India have paused all efforts to find the body of American evangelist John Allen Chau. Indian authorities say continuing to search for his body is dangerous for officials and for the Sentinelese tribes people who apparently killed him. Indian officials also say islanders should not be left alone to protect them from diseases. The 26-year-old Chau was killed 11 days ago and was last seen by a local fisherman. Chau was visiting the North Sentinel Island to preach Christianity to the residents.
NASA's Mars InSight lander has started sending pictures back from Mars after landing safely there yesterday. The $828 million spacecraft will dig deeper into the planet than anything that's come before it. The InSight lander's journey through space lasted 6 months and covered more than 300 million miles.
Count confirmed.
NASA says InSight will start collecting valuable information about the structure of Mars's deep interior. NASA says the information will help us understand the formation and evolution of all rocky planets, including our own.
Now let's go to Natalia Vivino for the latest in health.
Thanks, Karaima. The CDC says Californians can start eating romaine lettuce again, but they should make sure they know where it was grown. Last week, health officials announced an E. coli bacteria outbreak, but they were unable to pinpoint where the contaminated lettuce was coming from. Now they say they've narrowed down the source to northern and central California. They say any romaine grown outside of the Central Coast regions is safe to eat, but avoid it if the source is unknown. 43 people throughout 12 states are sick from the bacteria. Health officials say in Canada, they also say there are 22 reported cases of E. coli in Ontario, Quebec, and New Brunswick. The CDC says 210 people were sick from a similar E. coli outbreak last year. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, they're fighting an Ebola outbreak. The World Health Organization says a recent outbreak in Congo resulted in over 400 Ebola cases and over 200 deaths. The DRC started its first multi-drug randomized control trial. The government hopes that the experimental drugs will work. The DRC has been focusing on familiar drugs that they say showed promise, and they feel this new trial is a big step to figuring out what works. A preliminary agreement was reached late last night between Los Angeles County nurses and the county to avert a strike set to begin today. A tentative agreement between the two sides means some 7,000 county-registered nurses will remain on the job. The strike was over staffing shortage concerns. Nurses represented by Service Employees International Union had voted to authorize an unfair labor practice strike. The strike would have several local hospitals, including Los Angeles County and USC Medical Center. With finals and the holidays coming up, stress levels might feel more intense than usual. To help fight it, CSUN will be hosting its annual Beat the Blues event. Here's Matador News reporter Savannah DeMarco with more.
Thanks, Natalia. I'm here with Amanda DiBartolomeo, who is coordinator for the peer programs at the University Counseling Service. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So, can you tell me about the Beat the Blues events and what's happening on campus?
Absolutely. So Beat the Blues is a week-long event that started today with our resource fair going on now at Plaza del Sol. And it's a total of 12 events, culminating on Friday with a candlelight vigil to commemorate and honor those who have been lost to suicide.
Oh, wow. And why is it during this time especially is suicide and anxiety rates through the roof? Why is that?
Well, for a couple of reasons. One is we tend to get less sunlight. That's less a problem in the LA area, but more so across the country in the winter. Also, the holidays are a stressful time. We're expected to be really happy, and that additional pressure can feel very incongruent with how some people are feeling inside. And then for students especially, finals and the stress of finals certainly take its toll.
Right. And what can family and friends who might know someone that might be filled with a little bit too much stress do to help them get through that hard time?
I think we often are afraid that if we talk to someone and ask them how they're doing, that we're going to make them feel worse, when we actually know it relieves a lot of anxiety for someone to notice and acknowledge how it is we're feeling. So I think asking, especially if you're concerned that someone is thinking about suicide, really asking them directly, are you thinking about suicide? And then we have a number of resources on campus. We have University Counseling Services, and there's also National Suicide Hotline, 1-800-273-TALK.
Awesome. This sounds like a really great program, and I'm sure many students will need it. Well, thanks so much for coming out.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now let's go to Ahmad Akawi for what's going on in the world of business.
General Motors has cut about 14,000 jobs and are no longer making 6 sedans due to low sales in the first 3 quarters of the year. GM is planning on closing assembly plants in Ohio, Michigan, Maryland, and the Canadian province of Ontario. President Trump says the U.S. saved GM after it filed for bankruptcy in 2009.
We've let our position be known, and we're not happy about it.
The Buick LaCrosse, Cadillac CT6, and XTS, Chevy Cruze, Impala, and the fuel-efficient Volt are the cars being discontinued. The sales of the Chevy Cruze reportedly fell more than 26%. GM stock rose in morning trading yesterday, but has since fallen again. Retailers are thriving so far this holiday season, thanks to Black Friday and Cyber Monday. MasterCard estimated Black Friday sales, online and in stores, to hit $23 billion this year, a whopping 9% jump from last year. They also expected Cyber Monday sales to climb 19% compared to last year. Analysts say Walmart, Target, Best Buy, and Kohl's were leaders on Black Friday and through the weekend. And Amazon says U.S. customers bought millions more products from Thanksgiving through Cyber Monday. Now here's Kathleen Pandelli to tell us what Giving Tuesday is all about.
Thanks, Ahmad. Today is Giving Tuesday, a day to kickstart the charitable holiday season. The UN Foundation started the movement in 2012 to celebrate and support giving back. At least 150 countries are involved, including Australia, Kenya, and Norway. It encourages others to donate their time and resources to address challenges in their community. CSUN students offer some suggestions for donating and what giving means to them.
Well, giving back, I think, is just a good way to be a part of like the community and stuff, especially like within my own family. We tend to give clothes down to people that we know in Mexico.
So essentially when you're giving blood, you're giving someone a second chance at life. Because normally when people need this blood, that means the blood that they have either can't supply enough nutrients to them or it just doesn't work out for them in some way or another. So no matter what you're doing, whenever you're giving blood, you're helping someone save a life. So the way I like to think about it, why it's perfect for Giving Tuesday, when you give blood, you give life.
If you don't know of ways to give back today, you can donate blood for the Children's Hospital in front of the campus store complex. And here's Natalia with some science updates.
A Chinese scientist says he edited the DNA of twin girls to make them resistant to HIV, and now the Chinese government is investigating. A video he shared on YouTube today says the twins, Lulu and Nana, were born a few weeks ago. He used a technology called CRISPR to alter a strand of their DNA. He says the procedure is like removing the doorway to HIV, but his claims haven't been independently verified or peer-reviewed.
Little Chinese girl named Lulu and Nana came crying into the world as healthy as any other babies a few weeks ago.
Many countries, including the United States, ban gene editing altogether. UK officials say the procedure is permitted for research purposes, but only with strict approval. It's still unknown whether the procedure itself is safe. Other scientists in China say they're against gene editing on humans. They say what's happened is a huge blow to their reputation and that the ethics of the procedure are questionable. Now back to Ahmad with the latest in entertainment news.
The creator of the popular Nickelodeon show SpongeBob SquarePants has died at the age of 57. Steven Hellenberg was battling ALS. He announced his diagnosis in March. Nickelodeon says Hellenberg's show had a unique sense of humor that brought joy to many kids and families. Ariana Grande teased her new music video on Instagram, and it includes a few familiar faces from the movie Mean Girls. The teaser is Mean Girls themed and shows different people spreading rumors and talking about how they did something to be like Grande. One person, joking about Grande's broken engagement to comedian Pete Davidson, said she found someone to propose to her and then broke it off, just like Grande. Thank You, Next is Grande's first song to hit #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and refers to all of her past relationships, including her relationship with Mac Miller. Hall of Fame musician Quincy Jones is leaving a mark in Hollywood when his handprints and footprints will be cemented at the Chinese Theater. Jones has been making music for more than 70 years, starting at the age of 14 when he introduced himself to then 16-year-old Ray Charles. He won his first Grammy Award at 31 years old and is tied for second in most awards won with 27. Jones was inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2013. Jones and Michael Jackson connected for 3 albums. The duo had 3 Grammy nominations in 1984, winning Album of the Year for Thriller and Record of the Year for Beat It. He has been fighting health problems for 40+ years, including a stroke that put him into a diabetic coma in 2015. Former child star Amanda Bynes is back and is on the cover of Paper magazine. Bynes opened up about her drug abuse, admitting that she started smoking marijuana at 16 years old and later experimenting with heavier drugs. She also admitted to abusing Adderall. She has since improved her health and is graduating from FIDM with an AA in merchandise product development this month. She plans to start her journey toward a bachelor's degree. Now here's Sydney Gamino outside with the weather.
Thanks, Ahmad. Today we will see sunny skies with temperatures reaching a high of 78 degrees. However, those temperatures are set to drop back down to the 60s throughout the week as we welcome in a rainstorm. The rain is set to begin Wednesday evening and will continue all throughout Thursday and Saturday as well. However, everyone is concerned that the rainfall will bring in mudslides, flooding, debris, and rock flows to burn areas in the Woolsey and the Holy Fire areas. Now back to Samantha in the studio.
The White House is decorating for Christmas, and First Lady Melania Trump's Christmas trees are sparking an internet meme spree. Twitter users are sharing edited versions of a picture of bright red trees. Their jokes reference everything from Sesame Street to The Handmaid's Tale. Although the White House takes this decoration seriously, it seems the Twitterverse would rather poke fun at their holiday cheer. Thank you for watching. I'm Samantha Rodriguez.
I'm Ahmad Akawi.
I'm Natalia Vivino.
And I'm Coray Murtado.